Hi everyone, it's Paul from This Design That. Today I'm sending out the first batch of orders of the new album out on my label. This has been in the making for a very long time. It's a compilation and it's got 10 artists on it, 10 tracks, and it's part of a series of compilations that I've been putting out on my label since I started it. And this is volume 3 now. Seeing as I've now got a print studio, I wanted to start making more physical releases for the label. And this one is the first one actually. This is the first one that's been completely handmade by me. Apart from the CD printing, which you can see here, which I outsourced to a company, everything else has been made in this room. So today I'm going to go over a little bit of the process to show you what exactly I did and how I did it. Just to go over some of the technical aspects of the release, this is printed on Gemond Blank Tactile 300 GSM, and then all I've done is I've just duplexed it, I've just folded it and glued it so it's nice and stiff. It feels much more like a stiff card instead of 300, which, I mean, you know, is a very thick type of paper, but it doesn't really have that kind of packaging feel to it. So this is essentially 600. And I think 600 is good. I would have liked it to have been maybe 700 or 800, make it really nice and thick. Maybe in the future I'll do something different. But for now, this is the best I could do. It's also some of the thickest paper that I could run through the printer as well. The front cover features some holographic foil, and I finally got to use my foil press, which I'm very, very happy about. It took me quite a long time to get it dialed in. Once you've got the pressure right and the temperature right, it's really, really quick and easy to do foiling. And there was 0 misprints as well, which I was quite surprised about. Every single print, once it was dialed in, it come out fine. I was quite worried about this process part because in the release that I did on Natural Expressions, which is another label that I run, I wanted to introduce some foiling. Basically, it didn't work very well and I ended up ruining a few of my prints, and I really didn't have that many to spare because it was screen printed. So I opted to skip that part and not introduce any foil into the artwork, which I was a bit disappointed about. But this come out really, really nice. I love holographic foil. It really does just take a print design to the next level, and it really does look something special because it's just something that, you know, isn't really possible, especially for a lot of independent music labels. Don't have very big budgets to produce these kind of things. And I think the better you can stand out on these platforms like Bandcamp and stuff like that, I do think it will help with sales. I think people like to own, you know, a physical object that is a little bit special, it is a little bit different. And also what I found is that by doing kind of special things like this and not just outsourcing it to, you know, a CD production company, is that I find that more high profile artists want to work with you because just how they treat their music as, you know, they feel it's something special. I treat my design and my print as something special as well. So hopefully that kind of connects together. So I want to say thank you to everyone who has purchased a copy already. I know that this channel isn't really anything to do with music, and I've got another YouTube channel which is much more kind of dedicated to music. You know, if you are interested in buying a copy, you can head over to the Bandcamp link, where I'll put in the description below. It's deep house, ambient. I think you'll be surprised. It's quite nice and relaxing. But anyway, let's jump into the process. First of all, we're going to go into Photoshop. Now, I didn't actually do a screen recording when I was designing it because I did this probably about a year ago now. So what I've done is I've just kind of recreated some of the steps and some of the processes that I used in Photoshop and Illustrator to create this graphic. It's a pretty simple graphic, but there were just a few little things that I did. Now, it may look like a quick process in the video, but trust me, this took a lot of iterations and a lot of designs. So I know that when people watch these kind of like tutorial videos, and I do it myself when I'm watching people kind of create things online, I'm thinking, how on earth did they, you know, come up with that so quickly? Usually it is a much more edited down version, and this is exactly what this is. So I did not just create this on the first go. Don't be put off if you kind of feel like you have to go through so many different versions and your first idea is just completely crap. That's all part of the process, and it isn't actually often shown on YouTube. So I know that when I was first getting into Photoshop and all these various different kind of tutorials on how to do things and these kind of ideas that people were coming up with, it kind of put me off a little bit because I was thinking, wow, you know, how on earth do you just come up with this stuff straight away. You know, am I even kind of like a designer? Have I even got that way of thinking? But yeah, you will get it, so don't worry. Anyway, let's go into Photoshop. Let's go over the idea of the artwork. So in Slow Living Volume 2, I use a photograph. I really wanted to reuse this man that was in the photograph in Volume 3, because I thought that he just kind of summed up what slow living was all about. You know, he's just kind of chilling out, he's sleeping on a wall, people are just walking by, and he's not really got a care in the world. And I wanted the album to have something to do with time as well, because it's obviously about slowing down. So what I did first of all is I just cut out the figure of the man from the photograph. Photoshop does a really good job these days of being able to detect what exactly you are trying to cut out. But you can always go into the refine the edge. I usually just smooth it out a little bit just to kind of get rid of some jagged edges, and just underneath the arm here I just had to brush it out a little bit because it didn't pick it up. And I'm just putting a quick mask on it, so now I've got it cut out. This was one of my favourite pictures that I took. I took this on my Mamiya RZ67, and this was when I was in my apartment, in my flats, and I had really good views of the sunsets. It was an amazing sunset this day. It was probably one of the best sunsets I've ever seen. The sky really did look like this. It was incredible. I got out my camera and I got a snap of it, and I got it scanned, and it's just beautiful. I mean, I absolutely love the colours in it. So this is the image that we're using on the cover. So now I just wanted to try and combine these two elements together. I'm just tweaking it a little bit, just doing the levels. So now we're in InDesign, and I've got the template of the CD case of roughly what I want, and I knew that I was going to be duplexing it. I was going to be doing 4 pages and they'd be folding in. And here we are, we're just playing around with it. And as I said, you know, this is a really sped up process. I had so many different variations of this design, and this is kind of what I ended up going with. So I wanted to make a nice contrast between the pinks and the oranges, so I went with another picture of a very nice blue sky that I took, and this would be on the back of the cover. And then also I'll bring in the text of the track list, and I also wanted to fill up the inside of the front panel when you open the booklet with a quote that hopefully again kind of sums up what slow living is all about. I just put it in white, give it a nice contrast out of the clouds there. Now I'm going to take the figure and we'll bring it into the front cover. And I wanted to kind of have this duality of people's lives. So what I thought I would do is I would have, you've got the busy life that everyone lives, and then you've also got the kind of the calm and slowed down life, which we all probably want to try and achieve. So this is why I was just playing around with this kind of mirroring of the edges. I really liked the feet and the legs of the man as well when he was laying on the wall. I was just trying to pick up just slightly abstract images of what slow living is all about. And I really think this kind of like cross legs in like a sleeping position helped to sum it up. And I wanted it to just be a little bit abstract, a little bit experimental. So I just thought I'd chuck that on the back page there as well. Now this typography has already been formatted. I'm just kind of copying and pasting it in. This took me a long time to get the text looking how I wanted it to look like. I was happy of how this come out. I think it's an interesting layout for a track list. So it's starting to take shape now. I'm starting getting an idea of what it's going to look like. And then again, we'll bring in the title for the front cover. So I've just gone with a slight different weight of Avenir. So now I'm making a structure for where the CD is going to go. I didn't just want it to be a blank blue page. And the whole idea of this was that this is trying to take a calendar. So if you look at a calendar, it's that kind of grid structure. And what I'm doing is I'm opening it up in Liquify in Photoshop, and I'm just kind of distorting it a little bit. And I guess this was me just trying to show that time can be moved, it can be stretched. If you slow down, you can make your days feel like longer, for instance. Yeah, that was basically what I was trying to show with that. I didn't use this exact version, but I'm just showing you exactly what I did. So Liquify is a really cool tool in Photoshop. You can do lots and lots of kind of weird experimental stuff. And then keeping with this grid structure, I thought the grid structure was a great way to kind of show that plane. There is a difference between a busy life and there is a difference between a slowed down life. So now I'm just kind of like free transforming it, and I'm just trying to give it a little bit of perspective. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking my picture and I just wanted to add a few more elements to the back cover. So I'm just taking the grid structure that I made, I'm selecting it, and then I'm bringing in my picture and I'm masking the picture with that grid structure. And you can see that I was able to create different kind of graphics. They're a little bit random, a little bit abstract. So now for the foiling, what I've done is, again, I've taken that kind of that plane, if you will, because I wanted to kind of split, the slowed down version of the person and the busy person. And I thought having it on some sort of plane, again, going with this grid structure that I wanted to kind of use, I'm then masking out the figure, and then this is the shape that I would send to the foil maker to make me the foil die. After many kind of iterations, it's time to print it out, and I'm chopping it all up now. I love this trimmer, it's really good. So you can see what I've done here. I've just folded the sheet and I've got it lined up exactly so it will foil over the bottom portion of the person. So now it's time to do some test printing. I was really excited about this. The first one didn't come out too well. It took a lot of tweaking, but once I got it all dialed in, as I said, it printed perfectly. And then it's just the last parts. It's just creasing it, and this creaser is brilliant. I got this off Amazon. I was doing this by hand on the last releases, and this saves so much time. And now it's time just to kind of stick the pages together, just gluing it all up. So you can see here, always brush away so you don't kind of hit any of the edges. And that's it, we just clamp it in. And I weigh it down with some boxes. And now I just 3D printed a little guide that would help me to place the CD holder in the middle of the page. And there we go, all done. So here's the finished version. There wasn't really much I could do about that white spine. I'm going to try and think of a way that I can get around that in the future. For now, I'm happy to have it finished and to finally release it. Hopefully you've enjoyed that behind the scenes process of what goes into making one of the releases. If you've got any questions about the processes that you've seen, feel free to message me. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all later.